profiling Geoff representing the HAST Research Program, who won the HSRC's Ubuntu Award for 2015. Geoff, can you give us an insight as to what your program does?
I'm part of the HAST program at the HSRC. It is the largest program at the HSRC conducting research on HIV/AIDS, sexually transmitted infections, and tuberculosis. In this particular project, we were looking at key populations. These are hard-to-reach populations. They are called key populations, and they include sex workers, men who have sex with other men, people who inject drugs, and transgender people. They have been identified as the highest risk of HIV/AIDS in South Africa.
What are the kind of obstacles that your program faced on a daily basis?
The current obstacles that we face as the HAST program is that we need to provide evidence of interventions. We also have to provide accurate estimates of the statistics of how big the epidemic is and how many people there are who are infected, how many people die of HIV/AIDS and TB and STIs. And in this particular case, we did not have an estimate or a decent estimate of how many sex workers there are in South Africa, men who have sex with other men, people who inject drugs, and transgender people. We needed to know how big the population is so that the interventions can be tailored to ensure that we do not do the hit and miss as has been the case in the past.
Can you mention at least one deliveries that has been achieved by HAST?
Well, HAST is known for the population-based survey, the sub-sum study that is conducted once every 3 years, and it is a national study. Everybody in the world waits for the estimates from the sub-sum study to know what is the prevalence, what is the incidence, and what are the behaviors that put people at risk of HIV/AIDS.
Wow. What do you think made the HSRC single out your program for this specific award?
Well, we were asked to submit a proposal within 1 week, and we were able to pull it off. This was almost a miracle because we had to prepare a proposal for a complicated study that was looking at hidden populations, number one, and number two, we had to use a complicated methodology that has not been used in South Africa before, the place methodology. And the third challenge was that this particular study had to be conducted within 3 months because South Africa and the world needed to know how big these key populations were in South Africa so that we can be able to get funding for interventions that were going to be funded by the Global Fund for AIDS, TB, and Malaria. So we had only 3 months, and during the 3 months, we had to use a complicated methodology to reach sex workers. And you can imagine if you have to go and look and count sex workers and men who have sex with other men, people who call themselves transgender people, and people who are using intravenous drugs. It was quite hard, and we also had to follow the HSRC policies on procurement and on hiring staff and all sorts of things, all in 3 months. And one of the things was to get community informants, 14,000 of them, to let us know where can we find all these key populations. So it was a tough study that was done for the first time, and it had to produce results very quickly, and the results that are credible.
What would your encouragement or motivation be to young and up-and-coming researchers?
What I was impressed with was the level of commitment of each of the team members. Commitment is extremely important for the project. The project director was very committed to the project, and the team members, each one of them did their team. But we also had good communication that helped us to be able to procure things through different service providers in the country. We also had to work with finance, had to work with SCM, the HSRC. So communication is important, and commitment to the project, and being loyal to your work rather than being loyal to an individual. Because I think we were not in the field. Most of our team members did an amazing job out there in the field because they were committed to the project.
Geoff Sedgwick, thank you very much for taking the time out to speak to us.